friends, today it's time to balance the books of August. August didn't go as well as I thought it would, simply because I just was very interested in other things and not so much in reading. So even though I thought that I would really, get rid of a lot of books from my TBR, it ended up just not really happening because I kind of just stopped reading halfway through the month. But let's look at the numbers and then we'll talk. So in August, I got an arc of Havenfall, I got an arc of There Will Come a Darkness, I got an arc of The Bone Ships, I got an arc of The Grace Year, I got my pre-order of Sea Witch Rising, I got Learning Curves, which was free on Kindle, and then I got an arc of The Wendy. As for everything that went off my TBR, I DNF'd The Merciful Crow, I DNF'd An Impossible Distance to Fall, I read Blanca y Roja, and I read The Red Scrolls of Magic. So that is everything as far as numbers go. I started the month with 132 books on my TBR and I'm ending it with 135 books on my TBR, even though I thought that I would be able to reduce my TBR by at least 5 books. And honestly, it was looking really, really good for a minute there because I was really reading books from my TBR. I am in the middle of Ice and Shadows. I'm in the middle of Wild Beauty. I'm in the middle of The Bone Witch. I'm in the middle of Senlin Ascents. That's all I can think about at the top of my head. I wouldn't be surprised if there is even more. And I just ended up, you all know this, and I'm not going to go in too deep on that particular topic, but I, did get into BTS and I just really stopped reading. And so, obviously just even with all the books that I'm in the middle of, with even just having finished those, I already would have been at a good number. But then also there was still so much more that I wanted to read. And I really kind of almost had a schedule because I had this special TBR. So I was kind of really scheduling how much I would have to read every day in order to, read these books that I was the most excited for and stuff like that. And then it just all fell apart. And that's just how it is. And I'm not really beating myself up over that. You all know that I'm really chill with balancing the books anyway. But this month in particular, really, this is just kind of the first half of the month. Not only did I not really read anything else in the second half of August, I also made sure to just not really request anything because I honestly at the moment do not know when I will get out of this phase and when I will be, back into reading. And so I also have made sure to not really request or download any arcs. And so I feel like I was actually doing really well this month. I obviously completely stuck to my book buying ban except for Sea Witch Rising, which I did talk about was a pre-order, so was not included in my book buying ban anyway. And I am so glad that I decided to go on a book buying ban because there were definitely a couple of instances where I almost bought books, but again, just having it put out there that I am on a book buying ban just made it so much easier to actually stick to it, and especially to stick to it in a phase where first off I was not feeling super well, which kind of happened to me beginning of the month, and then also in a phase where I am just not reading because that's obviously what balancing the books is for, to keep it balanced. And if I have a month where I read 25 books from my TBR, then I can also buy books. But obviously this month did not end up going as well as I wanted it to. And the past couple of months all didn't go as well as I wanted it to. And so I was just so glad that I had really put this out into the world that I am on a book buying ban, because it really helped me to actually stay strong and not buy any books as retail therapy or just because it seemed convenient at the moment when I was just not reading anything. So again, for September, I will not get rid of anything because, yeah, as I said, I stuck to my book buying ban. I feel like the circumstances that I am in right now, even though they're obviously very happy circumstances and I'm feeling great and I love being obsessed with BTS, it's just not something that was really in my power. Just the balancing wasn't really in my power, and I think I tried my best to not let this get too out of hand this month. But again, there's obviously only so much I can do when I completely stop reading. I am not really sure if I am going to do balancing the books in September, even October, because I'm definitely still at a point where I could imagine not reading anything in September. I'm just really, really not sure. And like, I obviously did a TBR and everything, but I definitely could imagine that September is going to be a month where I don't read anything except for maybe a graphic novel or two and like maybe an audiobook, but obviously I don't own these kinds of things, so that's not TBR relevant. So if there's no balancing the books for September, you will know why. It's probably because rarely anything happened, and I hope that it's still like balanced so that whenever I do come back, if I don't do it, that I won't all of a sudden be at like 150 books and y'all are like, what the fuck happened? But again, I'm also trying not to request arcs, especially not if they come out like in the next month or two, because I just know that I won't be able to do it and I have so many things to catch up on. And I am definitely, this is the first time where I'm really hitting a phase where I don't want to read, since being someone who gets a lot of arcs, and this is the first time where I really feel that pressure. And I think that it is definitely a good pressure, and obviously, you know, arcs are something that I get because publishers expect something back from me. And so I think that a certain kind of pressure behind that is a very good feeling, and it's something that you need. But this is the first time where I'm kind of like starting to question just the way that I've been approaching arcs and how many arcs I have and how many I request and how many I download, because it makes me kind of sad that I actually feel really good and great being so into BTS, but a voice in my head is constantly saying, you have arcs to read, you have arcs to read, you have arcs to read. And I think that that voice can often be a very good voice and a very helpful voice, but at the moment it's just a voice that I don't care about and I just do not want in my life. And it's just like annoying because I otherwise do not feel in any form obligated to read. BookTube does not make me feel obligated to read. I do not feel like I have to have a wrap up with like 10 books in it. I just do not feel like that at all. It is just that arcs are obviously an obligation, and so they do make me feel obligated. And so that is definitely something where I think this current phase that I'm in will change my relationship with arcs. It will change how I will approach them from now on. And I just hope that September is gonna give me a balance, not as far as in for this video series and for my TBR, but just as in how I kind of want to continue to approach this, because I can always have phases like this in my life. And also for me, obviously my job situation, like being, you know, someone who is like in the theater business, you also never really know, like some phases will be, you know, busier than others, and you just never really know what's coming up next. And just, you know, requesting arcs months ahead and then not actually reading them months ahead, I think is not a strategy that will work for me in the future. So again, that's just something that I will kind of sit down and think about how I will approach that. And I just think that currently this phase is really helping me with that. And again, I just don't feel pressured into reading by the community or anything like that, or by myself. It's really just about the arcs. And I think that that is generally a good feeling to have. And I do realize my privilege, and I'm feeling so lucky with getting accepted for arcs. And that is why I never want to come across as someone who like takes it for granted or like who doesn't care about it. I very much care about it. It's just that at the moment I wish I didn't have to care about it, because it is just not something that is a big priority in my life right now. Yeah, that's just it. That's just how it is right now. And we just kind of have to figure out how we're gonna continue dealing with that. Obviously, I also have arcs lined up for October. I think November and December is not that much, because usually those are kind of like more quiet publishing months in general. So I think for those 2 months I should be fine. But yeah, it's just kind of like this strange situation, because again, I haven't really had this kind of thing where I kind of just basically like stopped reading because something else was like taking over my life, since I am getting so frequently accepted for arcs. So it's just kind of a situation that's new to me and that I just have to deal with. And again, I just hope that you all know that I never take arcs for granted. I will find that balance. I am certain and I am hopeful, and then we'll see. Again, there might not be a balancing the books next month. If there is, that's probably a very, very good sign. I am going to stay on my book buying ban because I just think that it is good for me. And, I will be moving. And so I think, just getting a lot of books in that phase is not good anyway. I will have, I think, one pre-order. I definitely have Tunnel of Bones pre-ordered. I feel like there's something else that I've pre-ordered, but I have Gideon the Ninth pre-ordered, but I've already read that, so that's fine. I'm not sure if there's anything else, but as always, like my most anticipated releases that I pre-order, they obviously do not count into my book buying ban because it's usually just 1 or 2 a month anyway. I'm not the biggest pre-order person. But yeah, other than that, no Mini Mobs books for me, and probably no Mini Mobs books until Christmas, if I'm honest, because, where I will be moving to a place where I will stay temporarily for 5 months. And so I just really, really do not want to accumulate a ton of books there. I will take a choice of my TBR, and that is just what I will deal with in those 5 months. And then obviously have tons of ebooks as well. And I just do not want to come back home with like 5 times the books that I brought, because I also do not have that kind of space. So yeah, that is it for today. The next couple of months are just going to be very interesting. Whether I do a video or not, I think there's some interesting stuff going on, and like in my life anyway, there's some interesting stuff like on the horizon. But I also just think with how I approach things, it's going to be very interesting, and we'll just see. Again, if I have enough for balancing the books in September, I will obviously do it. But I just wanted to warn you that I might not even have anything to talk about. We don't know. We're gonna see. I just wanted to warn you just in case. And yeah, I make new videos every Wednesday and Sunday with occasional reviews on Friday. So click subscribe to never miss anything and hit the little bell so you get notified as well. And thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!